Welcome to NFT Art Galaxy, folks. This is an amazing one for me today. Feels like my childhood NFT idol is on with us. I had to break governance to get my first Goanna way back in November. Super excited to have him on. Most of you probably know him. If you don't, has the top selling grossing project on Algorand, over 2.2 million in algo sold to date. And that's not the important part of the project. Gives back to trees, planting, the community, and is also building the first ever bridge from Ethereum to Algo. We got DAO's version 2 coming out. Here is Benji. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Rich. Thanks for having me, mate. Great to be here.
Absolutely. And just, I think for me, I want to know just kind of how everything got started, why Goanna, where the project is now and maybe where we're going.
Okay, cool. So I guess to give you a bit of background, kind of followed crypto, bit of a cliche story, I guess like 2017, just before the bull run, kind of got excited, came across kind of Bitcoin, started following the scene, made a little bit of money, lost all of it, but like maintained this really solid interest in the crypto space. I'd always wanted to kind of find a way to be involved and participate. But I guess I was coming from like a creative background. There was never like a road into it. It was always like you either had to be like a developer or like full finance bro. And it was like, I don't know, there was just like nothing I could do. So it was like a hobby. I'd like, invest a little bit of money, like play around trading, that kind of thing. The end of 2020 came across Algorand and I was like, this is a game changer. It was just like instantly, I was like, this is like the best project I've ever seen. Super excited. So I started following it pretty closely and kind of invested like personal money into it and just kind of like watching the space. Last year, I guess kind of probably like May, June, like I started to become aware of like how NFTs were exploding in popularity. And then kind of watching what was happening, how it evolved. You could see like, like crypto punks and Bored Apes were just going nuts on Ethereum. And then it was starting to happen on Solana. And like, I kind of was looking like Algorand had like an emerging NFT community that was starting to come through. And I kind of watched that for a little while. And like, I could just see like, one, like this is like, I've got a skill set where I can actually like do something, like I can launch a project, I could participate. So that was really exciting. And I could just see like, I guess like the way Algorand's NFTs evolved was a lot of it came about because of the nature of the protocol and Algorand itself. It's, it's super easy to use and it's really affordable. Like you can mint an NFT for like 0.001 of an algo or whatever, it's less than a cent.
Right.
So it had this really organic growth where people were just kind of making stuff, seeing how it went, like putting it out. And I kind of looked at it and I was like, well, no one's kind of done like this big kind of like project approach, and my original goal, I guess, if you like, was like, I want to do something and try and have it, so it had like parity. It was on the same level as like a big Ethereum project. It's like, I want to do like Bored Apes on Algorand.
Right.
So I was like, initially, like my goals were like, all right, I want to do a 10,000 piece collection, blah, blah, blah. And then kind of started looking into it and didn't really feel the community was big enough to absorb something of that size. So we kind of scaled it back a little bit. So I kind of started, I found some different artists to work with and we started developing a few different characters. There was a couple, there was kind of two major ones that we worked on. In the end, like the Goanna character, mainly just because of the play on the word, on like obviously like algo, kind of was the best fit I felt to go with. Bit of an interesting fact, a lot of people, particularly from outside of Australia, think it was kind of a play on the word like iguana, which is a type of lizard. A goanna is in fact a native Australian lizard. It's kind of similar to like a monitor lizard, Komodo dragon looking thing.
Oh,
So
wow.
a goanna is actually, you should like, I don't know if we could pull it up, but like they're a badass looking lizard that kind of lives here in the bush in Australia. So that was kind of where it came from. Obviously, like, you know, I'm based here in Australia, so it's kind of nice to do a project that referenced that as well. So yeah, like these are some goannas you've got here. You've just pulled up. Let's have a look. Critter science. But yeah, so like that was kind of like the inspiration for the project. And as part of it, I wanted to have something. So it wasn't just, I guess like now we talk about like NFTs having like some kind of utility or a bigger purpose rather than just being like a collectible JPEG.
Okay.
And like that, I think it's come a long way since when we launched. But my initial idea was like, right, what else can we do with the project? So we looked at this idea of like planting trees. At the time, NFTs had this really bad rap. You know, like NFTs are bad for the environment, Bitcoin mining, dirty energy,
Right.
all this kind of stuff. And I was like, well, Algorand's like carbon negative. So it tied in really well. So it was like, well, let's just, you know, the initial goal was we're going to plant one tree for every NFT we sell. I found this great company here in Australia called Carbon Neutral. You can see that's where all the certificates come from.
Yep.
So I just pledged like we're going to plant one tree for every NFT. Kind of, I guess, for myself as a way of like I'm committing and I'm fully invested in like doing this project. The week we launched, I went out and bought like 489 trees. So I kind of pre-purchased the trees for the NFTs before we started the release.
Oh, amazing.
And then basically, yeah, we released, like we did that first drop, and it just went nuts. It blew up, and I immediately realized like super quickly, I was like, right, there's like a great demand. People are really into what we're doing, and just dove in like head first and been full time on the project ever since. Literally like since that day, and just haven't looked back.
Oh, man. That's
But
awesome.
yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. I mean, you just unpacked a lot there. I mean, it's amazing. And I mean, the Algo fam community is thrilled that you chose Algo. And I mean, this community here is nothing like any other. So I mean, it's just amazing. And it's really amazing how this project is evolving. I mean, did you think it would get this big, or did you in this quick of time? I mean, you look at these are the same. I mean, it's just 2.2 million Algo, largest sale 111,111. Like it's just you got the attention of outside people, inside people. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of taken on a life of its own. I mean, after the first few weeks of drops, it was kind of it was clear like this is really going somewhere, and it was just, for me, it was just like, right, let's just double down and let's just push this as hard as we can and see how far we can take it and what we can do with it. And I guess, yeah, like we're just going from strength to strength, and hopefully we've been able to help kind of push the Algorand ecosystem and kind of, build out, so like
Really?
pave the way for other NFT artists and play our part in helping develop Algorand and get the word out there. Because
So I mean, it's amazing. So I mean, you have almost 2,000 people in your Discord. We have version 2 coming out. There's a whole Andy the Mutant story, which we can get into, which we have to get into.
Yeah, I'd love to.
But like it all evolved, and it's not just you. So like for me, I have a little project with my grandfather's art, and it's just started out so small and it's evolving. And like I don't think I can handle it all on my own. And now you have this Discord here, which I go in regularly, but you're involved in it. The community's involved in it. You have like a lot of help just from organically from the community, which is amazing. And then the community, which wasn't just you, started the DAO, which was a while ago. And that there's really not a lot of DAO protocol out there that can make your life a lot easier. So you kind of invented a whole kind of world where you can use different forms and entries just to have everybody participate in a fair, unique way. And I think it's amazing. And I believe version 2 spun out of that. I mean, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I guess like kind of we put it in the roadmap during the release of the first series. Like we always talked about wanting to transition to having some kind of DAO. Be a part of the project. Like when we launched in September, I don't think like DAOs weren't really on a lot of people's radar. And then like as we kind of progressed, it was like this idea of a DAO. And so it was just a way, I guess, of bringing the community in more to the project, like giving them more kind of ownership and helping them guide where the project goes. So we've kind of basically had, going back maybe like the last couple of months, we've had like regular calls, like every couple of weeks, every week, we'll all jump on a call and we'll talk through ideas. And I guess for me, like the whole point of the DAO, or the whole thing with the DAO, is like, what's the point? Like why are we having this DAO? What's the reason for it? And we're still kind of working through that in a lot of ways. We're going to, like the long-term goal where we've kind of got to is the Goanna DAO is this kind of like parent or umbrella DAO of DAOs, if you like, that oversees everything. Right. And it's kind of going to be responsible for kind of like social and community events and that kind of thing. And we're going to use part of the mint from the V2. Those primary sales are actually going to seed a treasury that the DAO will control. Right. And that's kind of like the bigger, longer term plan, which we're sort of transitioning to. But in the meantime, what's happened is we've kind of, and again, this happened quite organically, but we've kind of created like these single objective, like, and we call them like sub DAOs. Right. So I guess, or it'd probably be maybe like 2 months ago or something, like these guys came to me, they're from a company, it was called XP Network, and they were building NFT bridges. And they were like, like, we've come to you, you've got like a big project on Algorand, we wanted to talk to you because we're going to build an NFT bridge so people can bridge NFTs back and forth on and off Algorand. I was like, oh, this is really cool, super interesting. But at the time, we'd minted everything. So like the whole of the V1 collection was complete. So I'm like, well, how do I use this? Like, what can we do with it? Like, and the other side of it is it didn't really make sense for me to bridge a Goanna and take that and try and sell that on OpenSea, on Ethereum or something. Right. It's like, we're an Algorand project. Like all our community's here, everyone knows us here. We go out onto Ethereum, like no one knows us. Like, what's the point? And it's like, you've got, I kind of use the metaphor, like you've got like this, I don't know, like you're driving like a really, a car down the freeway, like the road's super smooth, there's no traffic, it's really cheap to run. And then you pull off the highway and then suddenly you're driving your Lambo down like this dirt track. It's full of potholes, you're bouncing around. The cost of fuel's just gone through the roof. So like, why would you do it? Yeah. So anyway, like we're like, but I found the idea of the bridge like super interesting. So I kind of thought a really good way to promote the bridge, to promote Algorand NFTs more broadly to like a wider community outside of Algorand, was like, what if we went and got like a high profile Ethereum NFT and we were the first ones to bridge that and bring that across to Algorand. So I put it out to our community. I said, look, we've got this idea. We want to bridge like a Bored Ape or a mutant and bring it onto Algorand. So we were like, cool. So we spun up a multi-sig. I think within like a week or two, we raised like, I don't know, like 70, 80,000 algo, just from all the community, like people putting in 500, 1,000, a few thousand.
I gave 100. Okay.
Yeah. So like, like super quickly, like we all came together and we raised like a pretty substantial amount of money. And then basically we had a vote, chose which NFT we wanted to buy. Yeah. And then it was kind of nerve-wracking actually, because we'd done everything through a multi-sig, but then to actually get the algos onto Ethereum and to buy the NFT, it had to all be done through like a single signature wallet.
Yeah.
So of course it fell on me because I was like the most trusted person in the community. I guess I had the most on the line. So suddenly like 80,000 algos of the community's funds got transferred to a wallet I had, and then I had to go to an exchange, trade that for ETH.
Yeah.
And I had to like use that with like send that to a MetaMask. Never used Ethereum before in my life. And then like I go onto OpenSea. First NFT I've ever bought was Andy the Mutant. You can see here, Mr. 5636, which was like 25 ETH or something. But anyway, like that was it. Like that was the whole plan. It was like buy this, bring it onto Algorand. And then anyway, like the next day or two, Chankle, one of our kind of long-running community members, admin on the Discord, he's kind of got super excited by what we've done, like this idea of getting this mutant and bringing it to Algorand. And he started kind of writing or like sketching out this story. And it was like, you know, and basically it evolved into the story that you see today. Like other people got involved and contributed, and we kind of workshopped it. But like the story, as you can see, is, you know, you've got the Goanna scientists headed up by Silvio Goanna. They've developed this meta portal to allow them to explore the metaverse and find other communities. Meanwhile, Andy the Mutant sat at the bar drinking his mutant serum, can't get home because he's waiting for the gas fees to drop. Anyway, like he stumbles out the bar, like, you know, I think he was having a piss in the alleyway, hears this rumble behind him, turns around, sees this weird looking portal to this forest, stumbles through the wormhole, and he finds himself in the Goanna forest. Andy just so happened that he had these zombie traits. He's got the zombie eyes, and he's obviously a mutant as well. And he bites the Goanna, runs off through the forest, and he spills his mutant serum as he runs.
Yeah, amazing.
And then so he's infected the Goannas. He by biting the Goanna, he obviously created infected one of them with the zombie virus. And in addition, he spilt his mutant serum as he ran off through the forest. That went through the tree network, and it polluted or mutated all of the Goanna's food source. So the idea then is, right, volume 2, we've got this amazing narrative which has led into it, and we're going to have zombies versus mutants. So I guess what you can see on the screen here is we're like, right, we're going to have zombies and mutants for the second series. And I've always been a big believer in, like, we want to reward our holders and our early holders. So initially we had the staking program where they could lock up their Goannas, and by doing that, they'd receive like an egg, and the egg was going to hatch and become part of whatever the V2 series was. At the time, we didn't know what V2 looked like. And, you know, we had lots of discussions about different ideas, again, involving the community, bringing them in, like, what do you want to see? Like crazy reptiles, lizards, these kind of things. And then this narrative came out, and like this story, and we're like, this is amazing. Like, it's so good, like super excited. I think just the idea of having like these two different kind of like rival factions just creates this awesome dynamic that we're going to be able to do so much with. It gives us this foundation where we can, you know, we're going to have like battles and wars between them, and we can get into that. But we had the idea, how cool would it be? You've got like a V1 Goanna. How cool would it be if you could mutate that and produce a mutant version with the same traits, but and also like a zombie version as well. So what we're going to do is there's going to be, well, there's one of them's already happened. We did a snapshot at the end of January. That was already planned. And from that, we're going to be airdropping like mutant fruits, which will go out. And then there'll be a second snapshot, an airdrop, which will happen in the middle of March. And then we'll issue like zombie bites. And then when we come to release the V2 series, you'll be able to use these. There'll be like a website with a platform where you'll be able to kind of select your Goanna, you'll be able to use the mutant fruit, and you'll be able to produce like the mutant version of that. And we thought that was really just going to be like super fun, really exciting for all our holders.
Right.
And it just provided this awesome way into the V2 series. So the way it's going to work, you can see on the screen we're looking at the moment. we already had the eggs which went out through staking. So the eggs are going to yield like a random, you don't know what you're going to get. You might get a zombie, you might get a mutant. You'll also be able to have the zombie bites. So the owners will be able to produce a zombified version of their V1. We'll have the fruits, and they'll be able to produce the mutant version of their V1. And then we're going to have this big public mint, because a big part of V2 for us was always about expanding the size of the community. With only 489 pieces in the original collection, we wanted to build out this community and bring more people in. So it was always about having a much larger mint. So there's going to be a big public mint as well, and the total size of the collection is going to be 5,555 NFTs.
To me that's really exciting. I think your community is an amazing community that I'm part of, and I think people will be chomping at the bit to be able to join the community, because there's a lot of people on your Discord that don't even own it. Goanna, just to find out, keep in the loop of what you guys are doing in the community. So that's amazing. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us.
But yeah, no, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. We've kind of given ourselves quite a challenge in terms of what we're going to, what we've got to do now to achieve this. Like to execute it, we've got to create a zombified version and a mutated version of every existing trait that we had from the first series. And then in addition to that, we'll probably create a whole load of new traits as well. So yeah, that's going to be pretty exciting. So we're underway with that at the moment. Like the artwork's started, it's in process, and we're aiming to have that out kind of like mid to late April is the goal at the moment.
Okay.
To roll that out. It's kind of, I don't know, like where we were with the project, it's like, we could have dropped another series probably like quite quickly, but at the same time, it's like we want to take the time, do it properly, do it right, and just make something as good as it can be.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, that's the goal with Goanna V2. And then, as I was mentioning before, we're going to use a portion of this mint is going to be set aside, and that will go to fund or seed the treasury for the Goanna DAO. We've also got this idea where we're going to have a DAO for each of the two factions. So like there'll be a zombie DAO and a mutant DAO. And then we're going to run kind of regular, I guess you could call them like battles that will take place in this war between the two factions. Some of it will be kind of more in terms of how we gamify. I guess some of it would be more kind of like, I'd say like real world stuff. So it'll be, things like there might be a challenge, like which faction can go and raise the most funds for the tree planting project, for example.
Okay.
And then the faction that wins that challenge would then, there'd be an algo-based reward that would be paid out to their DAO treasury and that kind of thing. But then there'll also be some kind of more like online or virtual components as well, where there'll be like, like a digital gamification as well. So it just really gives us this awesome foundation to work off and just create some really fun kind of dynamic stuff, and bring a whole new utility to the project that we haven't had so far.
That's amazing. It's incentivizing good is always good. So I think the whole community is around that, and we're excited that you're, not zooming and trying to do everything too quickly, and you kind of take your time, you do it right, you cross your T's, you dot your I's, and I think newer projects, can learn from you, and that they follow your model because, you're doing it right. If you look at your roadmap, people say not to have roadmaps because, they change and they might veer off and stuff. So just to kind of have guidelines, but you've did not put anything in your roadmap that you did not execute on, which is impressive.
I don't know. We haven't got our video game out yet. We're behind we are behind the ball on that.
Okay, well that's shame on you.
We were aiming for the end of last year. But I'm happy to tell you that it is actually pretty much done. Like the game's been playable since like late last year. It was actually just because it's browser based. It was about securing the back end so you couldn't spoof the high score, because the high score comes with an NFT prize. But yeah, I'm hoping that will be out pretty soon in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I did do a video of one of your shop reverse auctions, and I saw this. This was up here, so this kind of looks like a little game to me with the Goanna planting trees.
Yeah, so like that was
That's pretty cool.
a friend of mine, a guy, he's based pretty locally to where I am here in Australia. Josh, who's done he started doing a project called like Pixel Lizard, and so he did some graphics for the drop that we used with this Goanna planting trees. So that character that you can see in there is actually kind of going to be used as part of the graphics for the game.
Nice. See, I got I had some intuition there.
Yeah. And, so Josh, he's the guy. He's behind. You've probably seen the pressure meditation series.
Yes, I like that. I actually have a piece.
Yeah. So that's the same guy.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Sorry, I've got my dogs just trying to bring me his ball. Hey.
Nice.
Get out. He did this last time. Hey, like last time I did like a recorded thing. Like he jumped in and wanted to get in the video as well. So. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's definitely a lot going on. I see you have a metaverse possibility coming in the fourth quarter of 2022. What else is if there's anything else kind of we can leave everybody with that they could expect from you, Goanna, the project?
Yeah, I guess like the metaverse updates is kind of out of our hands a little bit. We're waiting, we're biding our time, waiting to see what kind of metaverse projects come out on Algorand.
Right.
I've heard some really exciting stuff. Like it's probably not my place to sort of drop any alpha on that. But all I can say is from what I've seen, I'm really excited, and I'd love for the Goannas to be a part of that.
Right.
So hopefully when that kind of starts to come online, there'll be an option. I don't know how it works. Maybe, there might be a small fee and you could pay to upgrade, and we could produce like a 3D avatar version of your Goanna that you can then use to go and cruise around the metaverse. And we might be able to build out like a Goanna land or Goanna park and start exploring that space. I mean, I think that's somewhere really new and exciting for everyone, but it's just no one really knows what that's going to look like at this stage. So
that's yeah, man, just waiting for the technology. I hear it. So where does all this creativity come? Is it from your photography, from your parents, from schooling? How did you get so creative? I mean, it's just amazing how you can kind of build upon. It's just I love it.
I don't know. I guess like I went through art school, did like a photography degree, worked as a freelance photographer for years, then ran like a kind of web agency, doing a lot of graphic design and branding, and that kind of we also did quite a bit of like marketing and that side of things as well. So I had kind of a good bit of business background, and I guess it's just given me this kind of good, like pretty solid skill set. That has just translated really well to NFTs so far. But yeah, I guess, I don't know, like naturally I think I'm quite curious, probably get, I wouldn't say I get bored quite quickly, but I like to learn new things and find new challenges. And like this has just been, I don't know, it's like when you do something that you love and it's like super exciting, like kind of like some of the work I was doing with the agency prior to this, you're probably, I don't know, you're kind of dealing with clients and it starts to get a bit boring, and you're working to someone else's brief, where this, it was like you had like complete control over like the creative. There was no kind of client to answer to, like we could make whatever we wanted. So yeah, it's just been like super fun. Like really exciting. And it's just brilliant. Like we've got this amazing community now, and just once I don't know, it's like you start something and you don't know where it's going to go, and it's just evolved and evolved and evolved, and there's just all these exciting opportunities that keep popping up. So I just keep keen to keep pursuing this, and well,
it's amazing, and we thank you. The Algo fam thanks you. The NFT community thanks you, and I can certainly keep talking with you all day, all night. It's morning there, it's getting night here, but I think we could leave it there, but really, really appreciate you coming on, and just any advice out there is try to be able to do what you love. And I think with the advent of Algorand and if you're an artist out there, creative, you know, you could certainly be doing what you love and build something as we see here. So with that, like the video, love it, share it. But I'm going to have all of Benji's information down below. If you don't know where to find them, you probably already do, but it'll be down there. So go check it out. Love it, like it, share it, watch the video again and again and again. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me.
All right. Until next time.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See, I'm going to have to stop.